Puget Sound local yarn crawl. 25 shops, 5 days. Just look at the bounce on that. An exclusive colorway? Oh yes, I have to have it. And a sweaters quantity? Of course, because what if I don't have enough yarn? Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, good evening, whatever time it is where you're watching. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. I really appreciate so many of you keep coming back, and it really warms my heart to know that there's a community that's building out there, and I hope that I'm worthy of this community. So I appreciate the time you spend with me, and as always, I really look forward to meeting so many of you in person. That will probably happen. I have a lot of travel coming up in the next few months, and so maybe we can find a time to connect. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Becky. I am a good enough girl, so I'm here to help you understand and hopefully make you feel better about however you are, wherever you're at in your path, your journey, your life. That what you're doing is good enough. It doesn't have to be fantastic or perfect. It just has to be good enough. You just got to get through. And so that's my goal, especially with my crafting, but also just in life, in family stuff and friends and things like that. So I'm really amazing in some places, and I fall down in other places. And hopefully you can identify with that and just come hang out with me for a little bit. So I have been super busy. It is getting to the end of the school year, and I know some of you all are actually in the Northern Hemisphere are done with school already. And we have about three or four more weeks left. So we're getting close to the end. All right, so like I said, it's been really, really busy. Some life updates. My firstborn child turned 22 this week, and so she's done with college officially. She's just kind of still at campus doing a job and waiting until graduation walking, which is going to be in just a few weeks. So we'll be celebrating her graduation from college in a couple of weeks, and we're really looking forward to that. So grandparents are coming up, and it's just going to be a really fun time to celebrate her. And we also, in the last month, one of my best friends, her daughter graduated, who also is one of my daughter's best friends. And so to celebrate, we flew down to Phoenix to go celebrate her graduation with her. And it was really, really fun. It was really, really hot. I don't know how you people live in weather like that. It was 109, I think, one of the days we were there. And so that was really, really challenging, but it was really fun to watch her graduate from her nursing program. And we got to see Harrison Ford speak. He was one of the honorary doctorates. And so he spoke, and he did a really compelling talk about basically how we need nature. Nature doesn't need us. And so we need to do better on taking care of the nature. So I thought that was really, really good. While we were there, we went to a couple of yarn stores, which were repeats for me. We went to the Yarn Parlor in Scottsdale, I think, and we loved visiting last year right after they opened, and it was even better now that they've been open for a few months. They have a lot more lines of yarn, and so we were excited to see new things, try new things. I got some lovely Noro and some other wonderful things that I think it's around here to share. So we'll see. I have piles. I've done damage, so I'm trying to learn some lessons here. So I did that, our mini little yarn crawl. We were in Phoenix, and then when we came home the next day, we literally started the Puget Sound yarn crawl, which is a 5-day event, and it goes to 25 shops over 5 days, and they are miles and miles away. So we have stuff all the way up to almost the Canadian border, and then down south to south of Lake Union, Lake Washington, it's kind of like the southern Seattle area. So we had shops all the way down there, and then out east and out west. So there was quite a lot of ground to cover. Kim and I did, I think I got 17 official shops. She got 16 official shops. So we were able to turn our packets in for hopefully win a prize. I don't think we did. I haven't heard anything. So, but it was really fun to do. It's exhausting. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. So I did a lot of yarn work over that 1 week, and it was fun. So I'll share some of the updates with that. Do you have a yarn crawl where you go, where you live? How many shops is it? What do you typically get to? And how do you plan your shopping? there's a lot of a compelling feeling to do courtesy purchases, like everywhere you go. There's 25 shops, so that's a lot of courtesy purchases. I managed to do it with all 17 shops, and actually the 2 bonus shops we went to that weren't on the tour. So I have too much. So now with festival season coming up here in the Seattle Pacific Northwest area, we have Fiber Fusion coming to Monroe in just 2 weeks, I think. And then there's, which is a more local, and it has the sheep, the actual sheep, and you can buy basically the entire fleece, things like that happen there. As well as classes. There's lots of spinning activities and things of that nature. So I'm going to be going there. And then Flock Fiber Festival this year is coming on July 31st. So at the end of July, first weekend in August is going to be Flock. And I tend to be dangerous to my wallet at those events, especially at Flock, because you know me, an exclusive colorway. Oh yes, I have to have it. And a sweater's quantity, of course, because what if I don't have enough yarn? Got to make sure I have enough yarn. Who cares if I have too much? All right. So some of you are in the same vibe, right? You're with me. You know what I'm feeling. So I'm going to have to find a way to plan not to purchase as much. So lots of smiles, lots of touching and squeezing, but no less purchasing, because I have a lot. I think I have over 180 different yarns in my stash. 180, that's a lot. And that's, some of them are multiple skeins, you know, sweater quantities, because you want to make sure you have plenty. So that's where I am. So now I'm in the phase of trying to figure out how to kind of mellow myself out and become a more responsible purchaser, because as a knitter and crafter, I am doing slow fashion. I'm making my own clothes. I'm actually doing things with my brain, my hands, and no real electronics. So that's great. Creating my own clothes is great because it's slow fashion and it's not going to get thrown away because I treasure it and I made it myself. So I spend some extra effort getting it just the way that I want it. Whereas things that I buy sometimes, I don't love it. And so it moves on faster, which is not great for the planet. All right. So enough of that. You all know who I am, who I want to be. So let's get into a little bit more of the yarny stuff. So let's talk about FOs. I have FOs, which we all know is not always the case, but I feel like this year I'm really ramping up and I'm really starting to kind of produce. I think I just finished my 3rd top sweater pullover for the year, which is pretty impressive for 5 months. So my FO is this gorgeous and delightful, the famous, everybody knows it, everybody loves it, ranunculus. And so I finished it. I'm not wearing it today. I wore something else, but I love the way it turned out. So you can see it has that beautiful lace patterning on it. I did make some modifications to the pattern, which I know a lot of people do because this is such a flexible pattern. I cast on with just the amount of stitches without any increases. So right into the neckline number that we were supposed to do. I didn't do any short rows in the front, but I did do short rows in the back. So you can see the short rows right here. And it's light, it's airy. It's made out of Little Nettle Soft by Ancient Arts Yarn up in Canada. And the colorway is Fern Lavender. It is gorgeous. I mean, the yarn is incredible. It feels soft. It's really, I don't know if you can tell, but it's really bouncy. Like, just look at the bounce on that. So it feels amazing to wear. There was one little glitch when I started knitting, is there was a little, there was a knot in the yarn, which I hate it when there's knots. I know it happens. And it was pretty early in. So right here on the back, there's, you can actually see, my lighting's a little weird today because it's sunny outside, but it's not super bright in here. So you can see that little flare of yarn right there. That is actually where the knot was. And I figured it'll be fine. Just knit through it. So I did. And then the first day I wore it, it came undone. So at the very tippy top of the project, from a top-down project, in the very back where I started, on the cast-on edge, which I should have known better and just been like, forget it, let's go to the knot, cut that off and go. but I only had 2 skeins and I was really nervous I was gonna not have enough. Or I was gonna have a really croppy toppy, and that's not my jam. So I made the mistake. I kept going. I knit through it. And then, so when I came home, I think we were at the theater this weekend. We went to see Phantom of the Opera, which I love. This little knot was actually completely open and was starting to gape. So I had to go in here and do some minor surgery. It's not very seamly. It's not as beautiful as you would have it, but thankfully it is on the back of my neck. So I won't ever see it. So I feel confident after all of the weaving and stitching, and I tried to duplicate stitch to the best of my abilities, but it was on top of half twisted rib. I love the way it looks, but I hate the doing. So I'm really happy with this. I know when I first started this project, I actually posted a Whip Wednesday complaining nonstop about the ranunculus. Do I love it? Do I hate it? And I hate it. I hated knitting it. I hated the big, because I use size 10 needles with fingering weight yarn, and it has 50%, or I think it's like 30% nettle. So it definitely had some of that plant fiber. So I wasn't loving that. Once I got through the lace work though, it smoothed out, kind of got really simple and fast. And so it was a great knit. I actually finished this in 3 weeks. So it's definitely one I would probably do again. I might make some other modifications, because I feel like if you look in the pattern, the necklines are like here. I mean, I don't know if the women or girls that are wearing them are just teeny tiny and I'm a linebacker, but they look like these necklines are like open to here. And that was the wide view. I did the wide view, and this is like right. So if I wear it, it's like right here on my neck. So it's not very big. So I may want to figure out a way to make it bigger. Because I do sometimes like that boat look. But again, color, phenomenal, gorgeous. I would highly recommend anything from Ancient Arts. I've loved either working with their fibers or just even appreciating, admiring, and purchasing their fibers. So I'm happy with this. I'm very excited. This summer, I'm actually going to have a choice of what to wear to all of my fiber events. Last year, I had 2 things that I had done in the past 2 years that were even remotely summery weighty. And so I had to wear those. But this year, I'm going to have choices, because I got my Vera Valamaki's Haisu. I have this ranunculus. I'm working on another tank that I'll show you in just a moment. So I'm going to be rich with choices, and I'm very excited about that. All right, so another FO, not knitting necessarily, but to be knitting, is my beautiful, beautiful fiber. I really do want to improve this lighting because this sucks right now. So let's see. This is the fiber that I spun. I made yarn, guys. I made some very, very pretty yarns. Let's see if I can adjust the lighting a little bit. So if you look at this, it's got lots and lots of beautiful colors in there. It has, you can see some mint greens and some light blues and some pinks. There's even a little ochre color in there. There's a little shimmer from some silk that's inside. And I'm messing with the lights again. I'm very sorry. So hopefully that helps. And it's just beautiful. It's really fun. It's kind of like I wanted to make something that felt like Spin Cycle-y to me, but not as expensive as Spin Cycle. And so I feel like I really did. So I have 2 of these so far. And I'm working on, I think I'm gonna have 2 more of these bumps, and these are going to be, and these are about 150 grams each, 200 grams each. And so a good significant amount, and I wanna make a sweater with it. I don't know which sweater yet, but I wanna make a sweater out of this. And I'm thinking the Traveler, because I've seen a lot done with the Traveler and hand spun, but to be determined. So that'll be my working into fall stuff. I'm just really proud of myself. I mean, I made yarn, guys, and it's really fun. I love making yarn. Like, I could spin, if my body would allow it, all day long. Just spin, spin, spin. So that's another FO, and that's gonna be building to an actual sweater in a few months. I call that Pretty in Pink because I'm not real creative with my names, and it's mostly pink. So Pretty in Pink. It's actually 6 different months of Nest Fibers Fiber Clubs. And I put them all together. So it was January, February, March, and I pulled some older ones from last year and even before. And so I got those, put 6 of them together, and then I mixed and matched them all up. And I'm going to do a whole video about the whole process of spinning the fiber all the way to making of the sweater. I might do it in 2 parts, but I've been kind of just recording what I'm doing as I go, because for me, it's kind of, I want to have the experience documented for myself. And if anybody else is interested in figuring out how it works, I'd love for you to share it when it's ready. I actually got ideas from other spinners on YouTube talking about how they prep their braids and things like that. So it was not anything unique to me, but it was really, really fun. Okay, whips. I have my longest running whip. Well, I don't even know if I can say that. This isn't my longest running whip. I have other whips that are in timeout right now. If you remember the Jaunty, she's in timeout right now. I think one of you had mentioned the idea of, instead of using the pink in the center of the Jaunty from the gray and then pink and then my gray, was to do the hand spun gray in the center and then just do the pink on the ends. And I actually love that idea. So thank you. And I'll put the name up here of who said that, because it was brilliant. And so I think I might actually undo the whole thing and then go forward and do it that way. So the Jaunty is still kind of there. I actually have more yarn that I was going to swap in, but I think I'm actually going to make its own Jaunty out of that kind of that mango-y, that's not yellow. If you were here last time, mango is not yellow, or is not pinky orange like my daughter tells me. It's more orangey yellow. So whatever color it is, it's not mango, but it's very pretty and it's bright. And I think I'm going to make a Jaunty out of it all by itself. And then I have the outline tee. We don't talk about her. She's like Bruno. We don't talk about the outline tee right now. We'll talk about her later. And my sock. I typically have a sock going at all times. And this is the first sock I've worked on this year, and it's been worked on since January. So for those of you in Farmer's Daughter Fiber Sock Squad who say, ugh, I'm so behind, I'm only knitting February. Hey, guess what? I'm farther behind than you are. This is January. Loved it. Super beautiful. And this is January part 2. So part 2, we are getting close to being ready to start to do the heel and then the gusset and then all the way down. This is my travel to go project, and I use a lot of it. I do it when I'm at school, when I'm subbing. So like today, I think I got 2 rounds done while I was subbing, because obviously I'm supervising students and that's my priority. And I have to make sure the kids are moving forward, doing their work. And the job of a sub is not really babysitting. It's actually teaching and keeping them moving forward. So I don't have a lot of time for knitting like I would love, but I do get to squeeze a little in here and there. So that's my Hermione's Everyday Sock. And that is in the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Squad from January of 2026. I think it was called Deep Winter was the color. And I store that in my Acorn Street shop bag. That's one of the shops that I went to on the yarn crawl. And my little hat chat. So for those of you Grocery Girls fans out there, hat chat, hat chat. So I got one of the pins from them. All right, so that's that. And so the big thing I started working on since I finished my ranunculus a couple of weeks ago, when I was on the yarn crawl, I was able to maybe consider starting something new that I was picking up while I was out. And so we went into, like I said, we went to 19 shops total, and one of them, Emerald City Yarns, was not on the crawl because they were too new. You had to be around for at least a year in order to be a part of the crawl. So they weren't an official part, but they were between 2 shops in Seattle. So Tea Cozy Yarn Shop, and the other one was Acorn Street. And so right in the middle was Emerald City Yarn. So we heard about it at one of the shops, and so we wanted to check it out, support the new place. And so we went, we loved it. We enjoyed looking around and finding some things. And I saw something that was really cool. And it's the Weekend Cami by Amy Scher. And this is the picture of the pattern right there. So super cute. Really, I just wanted a really basic something tank top. I don't like a lot of negative ease, so I'll probably make mine with a little less ease than the pattern calls for. And I'm working in something called Sayona Wool Dreamers. and it's a Spanish yarn, and it's 50% cotton and 50% wool, and 100% annoying. This yarn, it's beautiful. It looks really nice. And as I'm using it, I'm really enjoying it. The one thing, my complaint that I have is this. It splits like nobody's business. And the pattern has increases on both the right side and the wrong side. So on the knit side and the purl side. And basically you're increasing almost right on top of each other. And that left leaning purl increase is tight. And so as I'm trying to get it done, I'm twisting it's like spaghetti hands. And I have torn my yarn more than a couple times mid-project. And so I've had to undo things, go back. So I would say Wool Dreamer Sayona, probably a great yarn, but not for something that has any tight turns, twists, or increases. It's just been too much. Needless to say, though, I am still going forth because we march on. And I did some work, and so some work is more than I want to give up. So far, and this is basically a top-down, it looks like I'm making a bikini. I'm not making a bikini, though, but that would be a cute color. So it's basically a cami tank that you start on the right panel front, left panel front, join them together in the middle, and then you pick up at the shoulders, and then you start working down the back. You do the increases on the back, these little bitty ones right here, and this is where I tore. So I was right here on one of my sides. I think it was the right side. And as I was going, I tugged just a little bit too hard and my yarn broke. So then I had to go all the way back and I tied a knot. I committed the crime that I just complained about for my ranunculus. And I think, yeah, it's like right in here because you can see there's a lot of mess happening right there. So I'm hoping that I can just do a lot of duplicate stitching and it'll be just fine, right? As far as the weekend cami pattern is concerned, I think it's a really simple piece, but it is not a really simple pattern. So if you are a beginner who does not have a lot of experience with increases yet, maybe this is a second project. Because even for me, and it's not, the way she writes it, it's not like every step is written out. So you do have to do a lot of referring back to other parts of the pattern, which is okay. And that's why I printed it out, because I have to go back to page 5 and follow the directions for that. And then go back to page 6 and follow those directions. So that would be really irritating to me if I was working like on my iPad or in Knit Companion. So that's, I've had to I have things folded up. I have things folded on each other. She has a great glossary in there, so that's really helpful. A couple of video links, that's been really helpful. And I'm looking forward to it being done. And there's options, like you have a straight fit or a curvy fit. And so I'm probably going to do a curvy fit because that has nice bust darts and stuff. So it really helps with shaping of the bodice of it. And so I'm going to do all that. It's just the yarn pairing with the pattern, I think, was just not amazing. And so I think I would do the pattern again, but with a different yarn. And this was a sample. This was actually one of the samples they had at Emerald City Yarn. And so I was like, oh, that's really cute. I'd like to make it. So I downloaded the pattern, I bought the yarn, and I actually cast on that day because Kim and I went to a place called 7 Cafe, and we just sat and we did some knitting while we were on a little break. So that's the weekend cami. It's kind of an up in the air right now. I don't know if I'd recommend it as a beginner pattern, and I'll have to wait and see how it ends up, because that'll kind of give me an idea of whether I would do it again, or would I just find something that's a little more simple for the same basic outcome. But I think the customization is going to be really what makes the weekend cami. All right, and then that's being stored right now in my beautiful redesign bag, the project, I think it's project 39, because it has the front pocket and the zipper. This is great for any of my big projects. I even sometimes will take this to school and just put it on the crossbody strap. But for my last whip, this is one that I've kind of been talking about on and off, and we are making progress. So this is my Scrappy VT, and this is a V-neck t-shirt that's made with granny clusters. And it's great for using up scraps, or if you have minis or sock squad and you want to kind of put those together, because I know those colors often will go really nicely. So basically it's a scrappy tee. It's going to have a really cute v-neck. And I finished filling in one side already. So this is one of the sides. And you basically just go up and down, filling in with the different colors that you used. And then you can see this side. I've started doing this side. So I have just a little bit done. See if I can get so that's what I finished on the other underarm. And then the scary part, all those ends. Hello. I think I'm gonna try to do I-cords on the bottom to get those in. And somebody earlier had given me some tips online on one of my earlier videos, giving me some ideas on how to weave and crochet. So I'm going to be following that as well. So thank you to my friends out there, my good enough gang, for giving me ideas, because y'all have been very, very helpful. That is whips. And I've been getting a little itchy. Normally I have like 2, 3, or 4, and I don't really feel like I need to cast on all the time. But now that I have all this new beautiful fiber and yarn, I want to do all the things. And again, I've only got the 2 hands. I've only got 10 fingers, and those can only do 2 needles or 1 hook at a time. So slow I must go. So I think coming soon, I'm going to be, so I have a feeling that cami won't take me too long. So I'll probably have that done in a few weeks. And I mentioned in the past my Canmore group. So these are the ladies that I met at the Grocery Girls Canmore Retreat, Fiber Folk, that we went to last year and this year. And we just were able to sign up for next year. So next year they've announced that they're having the Fiber Folk Retreat at Canmore again, and we've signed up already. And so we're very excited. We decided we were going to do a couple of knit-alongs for the designers that we're going to be training, and I couldn't talk about it before because they hadn't been announced. But now they've already announced that it's Joji Locatelli and Vera Valimaki are going to be the trainers there. And so I did make the haisu so that when I met Vera, I have a beautiful piece of her work that I've been able to make. And so now we're talking about what's going to be the Joji pattern. And we all kind of have different favorites. And so we're kind of discussing and debating, what should we do? Should we do an accessory? Should we do a sweater? Should we do the same thing? Should we do different things? So we'll do something. I have a feeling it's going to be the Elton pullover for me. And so that's the sweater. I'll put a picture right there. It's basically a striped sweater, but it's not stripes. It's actually yarn, like a thicker yarn, and then a mohair, couple of rows, regular yarn, mohair. So it's basically fingering mohair. And I have a color from Knitting for Olive that I'm ready to put into that sweater. So I think the Elton pullover is going to be one of my next cast-ons. The Aster sweater by Megan Nodecker of Pip and Pin. So she is actually going to be one of the teachers at a retreat I'm going to in October. And so I saw one of her sweaters and it was just beautiful. So Serial Knitters is a local yarn dyer here in the Pacific Northwest. She used to have a shop over in Kirkland that was really close to my house. And I'm sad I wasn't knitting as heavily during that time because I could have kept her in business, I think. But she basically does a lot of different pop-ups at different yarn shops. And during the yarn crawl, she was at Acorn Street, and she had, her yarn is just beautiful. It's soft, it feels good. And so there was a couple of different fibers that I was going to be making. One is for a shawl, and that's Cherry Creek sock, which is the sock yarn. And then the Aster sweater by Megan Nodecker of Pip and Pin. And the Aster sweater is really, really cute. The top is basically kind of an open lace floral pattern, but it's these little tiny, and I'll put pictures up here, it's these little tiny stitches that look like flowers. And I'm excited because it looks really challenging, but I think it's way simpler than it looks, but it's very creative. So I'm going to make that. And then there was a shawl that I got from Acorn Street that I'm going to be putting together. I got yarn for it as well. And I'll show that when we get to it. During the yarn crawl, every single store had a crochet pattern. So they had to be able to create a crochet pattern, a knitting pattern, Some of them were the same, and some of them were like they would have the same in a crochet final design and a knit final design just made with this different crafts. And some of them had totally different projects. And so the knit project at Acorn Street was a beautiful shawl, like a 2 or 3 colored shawl. So I'm going to make that with some of the yarn, and then the Aster sweater with the other one. And again, I'll show that as we get to it. So I think it's time for acquisitions. So I think I'll start on yarn tour number 2, Puget Sound Local Yarn Crawl. So basically what it was, I mentioned it was 25 shops, 5 days, and they were open extended hours pretty much every day. And so we went to each store and we would pick up a sticker, and it's really fun because it's kind of a Pokemon, you got to catch them all kind of experience. And so we caught 17. And so every store that we would go to, we got really cute stickers put in our books. So I may actually pull this out and keep this kind of as my souvenir for the crawl. And it was great because it actually had a map of everywhere you were going to go. So there's the map, all the places you could go. And if you look, like you can see, you would have to go take ferries across some were on islands, some were just way across, like basically this peninsula over to this island, to this landmass. Seattle, Puget Sound right here, up to Bellingham, all the way down to Renton. So lots of places to go. It was a really fun tour. And then there was a list of everything. And the great thing about this booklet that they made was so cute. It was their 20th anniversary. So some of the special things they did this year, they had a stitch marker, they had the bag that you could purchase. And so I got the little bag. It's so cute. So 20th anniversary, there's our cute little llama and our sheep for hookers and knitters. And then on the back, the big one actually had circles for all of the shops, but I didn't feel like getting the big one. I just got the little one. And so every shop that we went to, except for one, because they ran out on the first day, had really cute pins. And so it was like pins and buttons. I love sheep thrills. And so it's just really, really fun. It's a nice way to remember the fun tour that we went on. So we did go all the way up to Bellingham one day. We went over to, did a lot of Seattle, did the east side. And so I think Kim and I went out for 3 of the 5 days because we do have jobs. And so we went one day after work, we boogied out, had dinner, and then like we just went straight to do all of the east side shops and goes. And we literally were like running into some stores at 8 o'clock when everything was supposed to be shutting down, but people were luckily still there. Most of the shops I'd never been in before, so it was a really, really great opportunity to see what's in our community and what kinds of things are out there for me to support and different yarns. Because if you go into the same shop all the time, you're just going to see the same yarns over and over again. And a lot of these places had so many different kinds of yarns. Some I'd never seen before, some that were more specific to the Pacific Northwest. And it was like it opened up a whole new world. I think I had been to 4 shops total that we went to. Maybe 5. No, 4. And I did go to Spin Cycle. That was like bonus. They weren't on the tour because their hours don't match up with it. But so we went to Spin Cycle as an addition, and Emerald City Yarns, which was also too new and couldn't be on the tour. So super fun. Bought something at every stinking store. I was like, on the last day, I told Kim, I said, today is no courtesy purchasing. I am simply going to appreciate the yarn unless I see something that I need or that I've been looking for. That didn't happen. My husband's laughing in the background. Luckily, we have an amazing relationship, so he knows my bad habits, and I know his bad habits, and they match up, and kind of we do our own things, but we get along. We get along real good. Okay, so tour. Let's see. I'm going to start with this one because I keep forgetting to talk about this. This is a beautiful fade from Trilogy Yarns. I'm not going to take it out, but it starts with this beautiful sage down to a little bit of a deeper olive. And if you get up really close, let's see if I can do this so you can actually see. It's a fingering weight fade kit. See the speckles in there? So cool. So it's got some speckles as well. And I've always been interested in doing a fade project. but I am not super talented at creating my own fade. And so I saw that and I'm like, that is gonna be perfect. I will create a beautiful fade sweater in green. I don't have a lot of green, so I leaned in a little to the green, I think. So now I do have some green. Huzzah! All right, now, here's a bag. And here's the bag. It doesn't look like a lot until you start pulling it all out. So let's see, we'll start with this bag. And some things have project plans, some things do not. I was definitely enticed by the free patterns that everybody had because some of them were so cool and I wanted to make them right away. So let's see. So beautiful. I bought a lot from Juniper Moon, which I'd heard of, but never really saw. And I loved this Maryland because it's got this really subtle sparkle, and I'm all about sparkle, but I used to sell jewelry, so we were like big time sparkle, huge sparkle, everything was sparkly. But now I'm a little more grown up and I like kind of a subtle sparkle. So you can see that. And that's Maryland Organic Cotton Blend with a little bit of sparkle, and it was from the new knittery down in Renton. I had never been there before, so that was very cool. All right, and then at Tea Cozy Yarn Shop, they had some Junie and Sai, which is a local dyer here, and just gorgeous, amazing color. And anytime I see pink and yellow, I am so drawn in. I mean, look at that. It's just, the colors are beautiful. It's got that green pop and the fluorescent highlighter yellow. And it's called I Want Candy. And so I was singing, I want candy the whole time. And so this is a fingering sock weight, 462 yards for 100 grams. And it's 75 merino wool, 25 nylon. It's a superwash 3-ply. So I bought 3 of those because I figured I'd use them for, like, I don't know, a sweater, a t-shirt. I think a t-shirt would be really fun. And I tend to run warm, so I can wear wool t-shirts in the winter, and it's plenty. All right, and then I'd heard of, but never got anything, and never had actually seen, Salty Blonde Fibers. So, I mean, her name's amazing, because she's a salty blonde. So I assume it has to do with being by the ocean. It says, we love making pretty string. Don't we all love playing with pretty string? And this is from All Wound Up Yarn Shop, Salty Blonde Fibers. And this is I'm a Cool Mom. So it's kind of a bright purpley. And then this one right here is Burn Book. No, I never had a burn book. No, I never participated in a burn book because that's mean. And I don't do mean. I did some mean things when I was little though. But I never participated in the burn book, so I'm proud of that. All right. And I mentioned the Aster sweater by Megan Nodecker. And so this gorgeous yarn is what I got from Serial Knitters. And you can see it's got a really nice tweedy nep in there. And it has, the sheen is incredible. Like, just look at the sheen on that. And this is it's called Echo Lake Tweed. The color is Velvet Magenta. And it's 52% mulberry silk, 24% super kid mohair, 20% fine merino, and 4% viscose, which is the neps. So, I mean, you could imagine just by the silk and the mohair, the luxury of this yarn. So this is the main body for the Aster sweater for Megan Nodecker. And then this right here is going to be the floral pattern at the top. And so it reminds me a little bit of a rainbow trout or a salmon. This is the Trevor Project 2025 fundraising yarn from last year that Serial Knitters did, and it's one of a kind colorway. And so I'm really excited to put those two together. And I think just knitting with this is going to be amazing. So Serial Knitters, I got that at Acorn Street Shop. Just glorious. And then my last item from Serial Knitters was, this is their Cherry Creek sock that I was talking about. And I'm going to turn this into a shawl. So this right here is Cherry Creek sock. It is 80/20 merino nylon and superwash, 450 yards. So it's a pretty significant amount of yardage. And I loved the colorway. So this is called Snowy Pines right here. So it's got a little bit of a tealy green and some browns and grays mixed in there. So I can totally see the inspiration of like a snowy forest with that one. And then this color is North Sea. And so it's basically pulls that same green out. So those are going to go together. And of course, Debbie, who's the owner of Serial Knitters, is like, oh, and here's a really nice contrast color that you'll want to use too. Of course I do. So I got a little mini, but this one is Super Sock Mini. So it's 75-25. So it's going to be, I think that's going to be really, really pretty. I've never made a shawl before, so I'm excited to make an actual full shawl out of these. And so I'm going to use the pattern, the free pattern that they had, which is, I'll list all the patterns down below. They are also available on Ravelry now. And then we have a local shop called Hazelknits. So Hazelknits, I've seen Hazelknits yarn at Flock, and I had no idea. She has an actual warehouse shop down by Soto, which is by the where the Mariners and the Seahawks play. And so we went down to her shop, and towards the very end of the day, and she was very kind and very generous with her time. This is called Small Batch Sport. It's a limited run, and this is a merino nylon. It's 90% merino, so it's got a heavy merino content, which is nice. And I was gonna say it's got to be sport. So this color is called Juliet, and if you look at it, it's kind of that, what I like to call mango that's not mango. It's more of a salmon color, but it's got some raspberries and some olives in there. It's just really cool variegation, and then some speckling on top of it all. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this. I think she had a shawl, like a small little shawlette or something pattern. Oh, she did, and it had, so basically if you see her logo, see how it's got those leaves? I think those are leaves. And so her pattern was a shawl that had kind of a knitted leaf border. Really pretty. So that's what that's for. And then, so I've talked on this channel about the Easy V sweater by Caitlin Hunter that I want to make. And I've lamented that last year when I bought color for it, I didn't realize I needed 2 skeins of each of the dream states, and I only had 1. And so when I was watching Table 10 and they were talking about their Easy V's, and then I have these two, and this, I'm like, oh gosh. And I checked the pattern, and sure enough, I needed 2. And the color that I wanted was Sex on the Beach, because I got 1 of them, but not 2. It is discontinued colorway. There's not a lot of it out there. There's some on Dyed in the Wool, which is the lighter base, but I needed something thicker. So I got, when you go into the shop, they have some really cool sale stuff. So this is an ish tint. So it's kind of fluorite-ish, but not full fluorite. There you go. Really cool colorways. I think one is a little bit lighter toned than the other. So this one seems to have kind of one of them has a really pale whitewash vibe to it, but I can't tell which one right now. So they're both great. Those are gonna go into my Easy V, and then I'll find something else. I'm sure Sex on the Beach will find something to do with itself. Up in Bellingham, Apple Fiber Studio, they actually dye their own yarn. And I am a sucker for this lace weight, Surrey alpaca, mohair, any of these lace weights. I want to buy them all and then make all of the lightweight kind of layer sweaters that you put a tank top under. This is Cortland, because they're named after apples. And this is Cortland, and it's their lace weight baby Surrey alpaca and silk. And the colorway this is Granny Smith. I mean, how perfect is that for an apple color? And this one is Highland. And so the Highland is a pretty deep colorway. It's got some, like, if you hold them together, you can see that it's got some of that same Granny Smith tonality to it. Like some of the silk string has that coloring, but then it has this beautiful gray, really dark gray blue going with it. So those are gonna be one of the scarves. It was called the Knit Flicks scarf. Basically, it's kind of some mindless knitting that it's a really long scarf made out of these two together, and it's 2 panels basically. And so that's what this is probably gonna be, but I don't know. Knowing me, it'll be something else, but beautiful. So that's from Apple Fiber Studio. And then I can't remember where I got the palette. So this is Sanascarn palette. Maybe it was the Tea Cozy, where I'd never been. I'd heard about it for literally decades, because I used to work at Adobe Systems, and a couple of the ladies would go into Tea Cozy and they'd talk about it, and I never went there. And so I know the owners have changed, and Emily's the new owner. She's amazing. And so I got like 7 skeins of this really cool stuff. So it's called Palette. It's basically cotton with these really pretty sequins on it. So this is going to be my old school. I used to sell jewelry and I love bling. And I was thinking this would be really cute for like a tank top or something, or a t-shirt that I could wear for the holidays. I don't really dress for the holidays very often, but you know, maybe the last day of school or something of the year would be something fun for that. So I got a bunch of that, and that's all in this bag, except for like, oh, I got some needle stoppers in the Pride and Trans Visibility yarn balls. So I loved that. And as you know, my child is trans, and so I love to do anything that shows off my support. And so that way people can feel safe around me, because they can't always feel safe around everybody else. All right, that's half. Here we go. And I am pretty sure I have more stuff somewhere, but we're just gonna have to call it at a certain point, because y'all don't want to see all the stuff that I bought, right? I mean, do you like going through acquisitions and stash and things like that? Is that something that's fun for you? Do you want to see more of that, less of that? Let me know down below, because I can adapt. I tend to want to talk and share everything in life, and I want to make sure people actually want to hear it, so I'm not just irritating you and showing you stuff that you're like, I do not want to see all your beautiful yarn. I have enough of my own beautiful yarn, thank you very much. Or you know what, your yarn's not that pretty. Tell me what you think. All right, so here's the rest of that palette. I'm excited for it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It has absolutely, it's all structure, no bounce. So we'll have to see what that works for. And then I started seeing, like I mentioned, Juniper Farm was kind of something that I had seen popping up. And so this Juniper Moon Farm Cotton Merino was at quite a few stores actually. And I think I've seen a lot of these blown in yarns, and I'm a big fan. I love the way they knit up. I love the way they look. They did have a cowl. It was basically just a regular round cowl that used 2 colors of this and popped it together. I got these at Quintessential Knits over in Duval, and I was really glad to find them because they're about 15 minutes from my work. And I tried to go there a while ago, and they were like just closed. Oops, dropped one. Just closed. And I think they had changed ownership, and so some stuff was going on. And when I wanted to go there, they weren't available. So, but they're back, they're open, beautiful little shop. And again, close to work. So if I need something in a pinch, it'll be easy for me to get over there when I'm working. All right, so that was Quintessential Knits. And we went also to Issaquah. We went to the Nifty Knitter. And they had some really beautiful cowl patterns. They had a beautiful cowl that has, I'll put the pattern up here because it's so cute. It was the crochet pattern, had basically like these bobbly sheep on it. Adorable. And then they also had a faded cowl for knitting. And so this is the colors that I got. I love blue and orange together. And this one just really, I didn't even care what I was going to do with it. I just knew that something delicious and beautiful had to be made. So this is from the Blue Brick Dye Works. It is Killarney sock in, let's see, and it says Ladybug. So I don't know if that's like the type of sock or something, but the colorway is Cape Spear. So Cape Spear. And then I just saw that there's a new Cape Fear coming out. So Cape Fear, yeah. But I do love these poppy and orange with the teals. It's just, it's a joyful combination for me. A newer shop that has joined Seattle in the last few years is Yarn Dragon. So I'm not sure he's got a big presence on Instagram, and so you may have seen his work. He has really great knitting content, talks about different kinds of fibers. He talks about hot takes sometimes. And I love that he has such a guy community that is knitting. I think that is amazing, and we need more of that in the world. So thank you to Jonathan for bringing those people together. So at Yarn Dragon, they have two places. They have one in Pike Place Market, and then they have a warehouse shop down in Pike. I forget the name of that area. Pioneer Square. So Pioneer Square does not feel like the most absolute safest place you'd want to hang out, but it has a really cool vibe. So we were able to find parking in a parking garage across the way, and so it wasn't as bad as we had expected. And the yarn is delicious. It's so good, so good. So this special yarn is Silkpaca fingering. It is 70% baby alpaca and silk. It is so divine. It feels so amazingly good. It is 100 grams for 430 yards. And I mean, just the drape. The drape is incredible. There's no stiffness. It's just got excellent bendability, flexibility, but it's still squishy and it's got bounce to it. So it's a nice combination, and I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty, I mean, it has 70% alpaca, so that could be kind of warm, but with the silk, I don't know. It could just be perfect. So this is the colorway Perrin. He does a really nice job with his dye colors. And then this is a more saturated variegated. It's more variegated in the colors. So you can see there's a little bit of like grays kind of pulling through and coming out of that. And this one is called Esmeralda. And so these are going to be actually held together they had a two-tone shawl. And so this is, I think, going to go into a two-tone shawl. So I think that'll be fun. And it's high enough contrast because they're different, but the tones are going to be so unique that they won't get lost, which was something I was really looking for. And I found a new to me yarn called Gusto Wool. And it's cool because the way that these are packaged, they're actually ready. I didn't even realize they were separate, but they're ready for 2 at a time. 2 at a time socks, 2 at a time sleeves, whatever it is that you're doing 2 at a time, they're ready. I went to the first store where I got these. It was Needles and Hooks. So Needles and Hooks in Lake Forest Park, Washington. And they only had 2 of these. And I was kind of bummed because I'm like, well, if I'm going to make a tank top or something, I probably want 3, but I'll take the 2 and we'll go crappie. Or I'll do stripes or something else to kind of make it go farther. But then when I was at Quintessential Knits the next day, lo and behold, they had the same stuff. So now I do have, it's essentially 6 or 3 skeins of yarn. And so I do have enough, and they're all in the same dye lot. It couldn't have gotten better. So I'm excited for those. Those are Gusto Wool Echoes, and it is, what's the colorway? I don't know what the colorway is. But like I said, I was kind of leaning into the greens, and I love the green with the pink. So I got 3 of those. You can see my pile is getting bigger and bigger because my hands are going not as low anymore. And then Bamboo Pop Sock. I saw this. Where was this from? I don't remember where I got that from. I just thought it would be interesting to find a sock yarn that is made of kind of a summer weight fabric. And so I'm interested in seeing how this knits up. It does have 55% bamboo, 37% cotton, and then 8% PBT, which I'm assuming is something like nylon. And the cool thing about this, it's Universal Yarn, which I know is a pretty big brand. They have a little tab in here that'll show you how it's going to knit up. So when you sock it, that's kind of what you're going to get. So I'm excited to try that just in a different fabrication because all of my socks have been wool and nylon. So we'll see if I can make a nice summer weight sock. Oh, and jumping back to Apple Fiber Studio, they had a bunch of sale items in the back. So that was where I got my beautiful Surrey silk. And they had just they had a bunch of colorways that they hadn't sold, and it was just like 1 or 2 skeins of stuff. and it was all on a nice sale. And so last year I got into making bulky, like plumpy items. And so there's the plumped up cowl and the plumped up hat from Andrea Mowry and the plumped up Harlow, or they might be one and the same. And so I'm wanting to find some ways that I can do some more brioche with that big chunky yarn. And so I thought this would be a really cute pop with another chunky yarn. So that's what that's for. And I think we're coming to the bottom of the bowl. So my last one, again, leaning into green, is this really pretty, it's kind of a soft jadey green. It's from Stilly River Yarns, and it is Kelborn Woolen Mills. And I've heard a lot about this, it's Mojave. I've heard a lot about it, and so I wanted to give it a try. And I like the way it felt. It feels a little bit cottony, like you can feel not the ton of stretch, but, so it was Mojave in cactus green colorway. And what else do we need to know? Of course, everything that I wanted to, the fabrication, I can't remember what it is, but I know there's cotton in here. And it was only 12 bucks. So, I mean, 24 if you had a full skein of it because it's 50 grams, but not bad. And I can easily make a really cute tank top or t-shirt out of these. So I got 6 of those so I can try out. That's a yarn I've actually been looking at and been interested to try. So that was serendipitous. And the only place I saw it was Stilly River Yarns. And so maybe it was somewhere else. I just didn't notice it. I think that's the yarn crawl acquisitions. So as you can see, I'm going to have a lot of knitting ahead of me. And I wish I could hire people to knit for me, but then I would lose the experience and the opportunity to knit for myself and enjoy the experience. So I'll just be knitting until I've been dead for like 50 years because I don't. And I told my kids, I said, when I'm gone, do not give away my stash. Unless you know it's to a person who appreciates and understands a stash. Because I love my stash. And I get so happy when I look at my Ravelry stash and I'm like, oh yeah, I have that. Ooh, that's going to be so fun to work with. So, I mean, you don't just get that dopamine hit when you buy it. You get the dopamine hit when you go through your Ravelry and you see it. You're like, oh, I can't wait to work with that. So, I'm so excited. And I'm going to have some good amounts of green in my wardrobe. I'm going to continue on the blue and pink or the yellow and pink because, you know, I love it. So there's some common themes. I still have the pinks and the purples, which I love, love, love. But then I also leaned in a little bit more to the green because I didn't have it much in the green world. So that was the yarn crawl. That was 3 days of yarn crawling. 3 days. I was so tired. And my friend had to leave. She was traveling out of town on the Sunday of the last day of the crawl. So we're like, we got to take a day off. So we took Friday night off. And I was having a rough day that night anyway. The world was just weighing on me quite a bit. And I had some bad news about a colleague at work, and which has actually turned around. So that's much better. But unfortunately, the world's still on fire. And that hasn't changed. So that's still weighing heavy on me. But my friend got a full-time job. So that's great news. Oh, I did miss a fiber. So this is a beaut. I was so attracted to this colorway. It's greens and browns with some blues, some aquas, and some beautiful like fiery orange and some peach. So this, I'm really excited. I don't know if I'm going to spin it with something or if I'll spin it on its own. Do you have any suggestions on the best way for those of you who are spinners out there? So I know fractal spinning and I know chain plying. What would you do with this? Would you chain ply it so that you have all the bulks of the colors kind of moving through in big pieces, or would you ply them against each other so you have a little bit more of the barber pulling, which is what I have in this wool. So it's a little more barber pulled. So suggestions, ideas. If you're a spinner, if you're not a spinner and you just think you know what you like, that's great. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear it. So that was Wool Gatherings, Polworth Top, hand-painted yarn and fibers. I think I got it from Quintessential Knits. but I don't remember. But that was really fun. I mean, and I love supporting small businesses, and all of these were small businesses. So I was glad I could do it. So the shops that we actually went to, so everybody gets their shout out. If I can find my book, I can give you your shout outs. So Tea Cozy Yarn Shop. We went to Quintessential Knits. We went to Yarn Dragon. We went to the Tea Cozy. We went to Stranded by the Sea. We went to All Wound Up Yarn Shop. We went to Needles and Hooks. We went to Streaka in Bothell, but they're moving to Snohomish. So if you're a fan of Streaka, they're moving to Snohomish next month. Acorn Street, Apple Yarns, Wild Fibers up in Mount Vernon, the Yarn Outfitter, and the New Knittery, Quintessential Knits, Hazel Knits, Northwest Yarns and Mercantiles. Nifty Knitter was out of their buttons altogether by the time we got that. I forgot to pick one up from the Yarn Studio, or the Knitter Studio, which is kind of where I go for local yarn stop stuff. So I've supported them a lot this year, so I did not, that's the one shop I didn't buy anything from, because I figure I'm going to buy some more stuff from them, and I already did buy some stuff from them. And so that, I know that one I didn't get a button from. I think I just forgot to pick it up, and I was super bummed about it. So I don't know which one gave me Sheep Thrills, but I know it was a shop that had run out of buttons, and I love a sarcastic little something, and so I love Sheep Thrills. Me and Sia, we love Sheep Thrills. All right. Okay, that was Yarn Crawl. I also have done a little purchasing on the side, but I don't tend to do as much online ordering because I like to actually have an interaction with the yarn, and I'm lucky enough that, as you can tell, I live around, there's 25 yarn shops, plus the couple that I didn't get to go, that I went to that weren't even on the crawl. So we have a ridiculous amount of riches when it comes to yarn shops, which is amazing, and I love that about living here. Plus, you know, the knitting community is just amazing. There's so many people around here. Every time I go into a new environment where there's people knitting, they're just wonderful, kind, cool people. They're like, I found my people. It took me, when I was in high school, I found the drama geeks, and those were my people, and you still are my people. So those of you who are out there, rock on. You be my drama nerds. And knitters and crafters, just crafters in general, have a very cool vibe. Independent thinkers for the most part, and fight for what they believe in, stand up for what's right, but also are just kind to the core. So I love this community. So thank you for being a part of a community that I just adore. I mean, everybody makes it so much better. All right. So I did a little bit of off yarn shopping, or I should say off tour shopping. And so I wanted to share a couple of things that have come in. Last year at Flock, I fell in love with Bad Sheep yarn. I discovered them. Their colorways are super cool, really interesting, fun names. And the people that work there are really, really cool people. And so I spent a lot of time at their booth. I kept bopping over there, looking at all their stuff. My daughter, I think, has a sweater quantity from there to make a sweater. And then I kept seeing, I'm very rarely purchase things that I see on Instagram or Facebook or any of those things. And I don't use TikTok. So I am low on the influenced level when it comes to purchasing things from ads that I see on those platforms. I will purchase things from all of my friends who are out there YouTubing and telling me what amazing things there are. I am heavily knit-fluenced and spin-fluenced in that category. But I kept seeing this color from Bad Sheep Yarn, and it was called Red Ripe Strawberry. And it is just this beautiful, variegated pinks and reds, just like really deep pinks and deep reds. And I loved it, and I decided that I was going to make something out of it. And so I got is it mohair or Surrey alpaca? Surrey alpaca silk. And it is gorgeous. I got over 1,200 yards of it, so 1,300 yards of it. So I'm going to make a sweater with it that is basically just a V-neck pullover sweater with a basic sleeve. And it'll look like a basic pullover sweater, but it'll be open because it's going to be made with the Surrey silk alpaca, and then I can put it over a tank top or something. And I have a feeling it'll be kind of like that nice weight that even in the summer you can wear it in the evenings and you won't get too hot, but you could also wear it during the winter. and it'll keep you probably warm enough, especially inside. So that's Bad Sheep yarn, Red Right Strawberry. I'm very excited about that. Try not to crinkle it, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous. So excited about that. And as I arrived home today, I saw sitting on my couch something that I'd ordered months ago from Yarn Jam. So I assume if you're watching this, you probably are a huge podcaster or podcast admirer, indulger, consumer, and I am as well. Like, that's one of the reasons I got into podcasting, is just because I loved it. I like listening to people talk. I like feeling like I'm part of the conversation when people talk. And so Yarn Jam created a few different fiber colorways for some podcasters that I watched and some that I didn't watch and watch now. So I got my package in the mail today. I'm very excited. I'm trying to decide, am I going to spin this all together? Am I going to spin it separately? Am I going to put it in with other stuff? Do I need more Yarn Jam? So cute. Yarn is my jam. Yeah, it is. That's really cute. All right, so Yarn Jam sticker. And then I think I got one of all the colorways because I love them so much. So the initial group that influenced me was Rachel and Renee at Table 10. So many of you know them and probably watch them quite a bit. And so I wanted their colorways because they were super cool. And let's see if I can find it. So theirs was Little Sis Energy. So look at that, just bold, vibrant. And I got them on the white bases in the natural Shanico instead of on the gray, because I kind of like the white pop more than the gray. So, oh gosh, these colors are so good. It just reminds me of a spring garden. So many bright colors, like tulips, little roses, azaleas, all the things. So Big Sis Energy, or Little Sis Energy for Renee, and then Big Sis Energy for Rachel. I identify with Rachel. I feel I'm a Big Sis Energy too. And I loved the kind of the deep, rich colorways. So you see, I mean, she wears a lot of blue. So there's a heavy blue in there, some turquoise, some like teal, green blues, as well as purples. And I mean, just all the colors that she loves. And so I adore that. So good. So I was really excited about these arriving, and now I'm trying to figure out what to do with them. So I got those two. And then I got Starlit Forge, which I believe is Tangles and Starlight. Tashi, am I right? Tashi, am I right? And so their colorway, Starlit Forge, Taji, Stitches in Starlight and Tangles in Starlight. So this is again on the Shanico base, and it was just deep and moody and so good. So dark purples, and I've started watching Taji and following their podcast, and so these colors actually kind of feel reminiscent of the things that they wear and they create with. So it's just really dark, deep, rich colors, the purples, and then we have some of this plummy colors, some vibrant oranges and greens and browns, and a little bit of like blue-gray. Oh, yum. And let's see. So Winter Pines, it's just so soft, and again, going with my green theme. This is from Emily at the Botanical Knitter. And so hers is really winter pine colors with the greens and the whites, and just variations on the theme. So you can see just the beautiful, there's a little bit of kind of the pale gray shades in there. So you can see the little gray right there, as well as the kind of the creamy white and the botanical greens. Oh, so delish. And then finally, Graceful Blooms. And this is from Mia of Knit and Grace. And again, it feels a little more summer palette, or kind of a going into winter palette, but winter florals, if that makes any sense, because there's like some really yellow, orange, and greens in here, but also with the plums. And so I'm thinking like these would be really great put together because they have kind of the crossover with the green. But then this dark one would be really nice with this one as well, because it's got some of the same balanced colors. And so maybe those would all work together because they look beautiful together. And then my sisters Rachel and Renee are also super fun, and I saw them ply theirs together, and so cute. So, ideas? What would you do with these 5 bumps of fiber? 5 braids of delicious and beautiful fiber. I'm starting to get a little bit of a collection of fiber now too, but I am working to spin it. Like every day I spin a little something, and it's cathartic. It's such a great, even if I didn't make anything out of it, just the spinning process really is relaxing and soothing to me and my family. So they hear the sounds, and it's kind of like brings everybody down a little bit, which is really nice. And so I want to thank, I think it's Trisha from Yarn Jam. So thank you, Trisha, for coming up with this really cool idea. And she said a nice little note in here as well. Yep, Trisha. And being creative is not a hobby. It is a way of life. Isn't that true? We are creative, whether we make things or not. The way we problem solve, the way we approach life is creative. And I think that's just, it's a wonderful way to live. Okay. I think out in my mailbox, there is a Farmer's Daughter Fiber sock squat from June. So I can't show that anyway, because it's not going to be June yet. Hopefully it's not June by the time you see this. Oh gosh. That's what's going on. So over the next few weeks, I'll be really busy with my kiddos' graduation, and school's going to be wrapping up in a few weeks, and we're going to go to the lake with some friends, and so that'll be super fun. But hopefully I find some time to podcast. I know we're going to have a worldwide knit in public day, so hopefully you get out there and knit. I think it's probably on my daughter's graduation, so you know I'll be knitting because I'll be in the audience, and that's what I do, even if it's going to be like 80, 90 degrees outside, which it could be, but that's okay. We do what we need to do because we celebrate the people we love. All right, so thanks for sticking around the whole time. And I would love to know, what are you up to? What are you knitting? What are you spinning? What are you crocheting? Are you beading anything? Are you sewing things? Are you doing embroidery? Are you just sitting back and watching the clouds go by? Are you reading a book? Let me know what you're up to. I'm not going to get into books and TV right now just because there was so much that happened in the last month, and I wanted to really talk about all the yarny things. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. And if you stuck around the whole time, you and I are going to be besties. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.